Devoted women and dangerous men. What is the connection? We're exploring the psychological phenomenon of women obsessed with murderous men and asking the question, what motivates these women? And how do they connect with men behind bars in the first place? The answers shocked me. Today's true crime, the real housewives of murderers. Investigative correspondent Mara Schiavocampo joins me now. Now, I was shocked, I got to say, to hear how common it was for women to fall in love with even marry men who were in prison for violent crimes. What was your first reaction as you began investigating this?
You know, to be honest, I wasn't all that surprised because there's always been kind of this notion of the appeal of the bad boy. And when it comes to these notorious criminals, a lot of times there's the celebrity appeal as well because they essentially become household names. But I'll tell you what did surprise me is the number of women from all walks of life who are looking for love with inmates they've never heard of, they've never seen, or they've never met. That did surprise me.
So there's been research on this, everybody. I didn't realize this until I studied up for the show. It's a psychological phenomenon. I want to give you them in a second. But I got to say, what do experts think motivate women? What is going on deep inside that allows them to fall in love with men behind bars?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, especially when people have committed these terrible, awful crimes. This is a psychological phenomenon known as hybristophilia.
Hybristophilia.
Hybristophilia. And it's where you're sexually attracted to or aroused by someone because they have committed an outrage.
There's so much to this, so much depth that it got us all interested. And the phenomenon went mainstream in 2014 when police posted Jeremy Meeks' mugshot on Facebook. You all remember that picture?
Oh, yeah.
And it went viral. So how do you explain the fanfare over this man? He was going to jail.
Well, this one's actually really easy, Dr. Oz. I mean, look at him. He's gorgeous. And
he is handsome.
I also think it helps that he was not convicted of a violent crime. He was convicted of robbery, so it makes it a little easier to look past the incarceration. And now he's a famous model. His girlfriend is a British billionaire, and it's all because of this photo.
But I gotta say, how do you find these people in the first place? What if it gives you the link to connect to someone who's behind bars?
Yeah, that's a great question. And today, thanks to technology, it is easier than ever before. There are dozens of sites that can connect regular women on the outside with inmates who are serving time, and they have thousands of members. So women who are looking for these connections have a very easy time finding them.
So Mara actually investigated prison dating apps, that's what they're called, prison dating apps, and was shocked at how easy it is to connect with a killer. Take a look.
A quick internet search will show there's no shortage of prison dating websites dedicated to finding the incarcerated a love connection on the outside. And people are even willing to pay for it.
So I decided to call a few of these sites to see how much interest they're getting and what benefits they really provide to singles on both sides of the bars.
Hello?
Hi, Adam. Hey, this is Mara calling from the Dr. Oz Show. So I just wanted to chat with you about the site that you guys run connecting people with inmates.
Sure.
Is there any kind of vetting process on either end?
So when an inmate submits information to us, we actually verify the crime, the photo, the address, the age. We verify everything that we can verify on a government website.
How is this benefiting inmates and also the singles on the outside?
Well, research shows us that inmates who have contact with the outside world are less likely to recidivate. So contact with the outside world for an inmate is an important thing.
And what do you think the folks that are writing them are getting out of it? What are they seeking?
Curiosity, some of it's empathy, a lot of it's religious reasons. It really varies widely. And so I think a lot of people come to the site with the idea of becoming pen pals, and they start to form a bond with this person, and you know it can go to the next phase. We do find a lot of people form romantic relationships.
Seems so well thought out. So walk us through how women actually do this. How do they connect with men who are behind bars?
Yeah, so these are a few of these websites here, right? So they look much like many popular dating sites. So you can enter in information that is relevant to your search. You can search by gender, by age, by location, ethnicity, religion. You can put in all these factors, and then you will get a list of profiles. You can search through them, and then you can get their information. You'll get things like their address, their inmate number, and then you have everything you need to start that connection.
Do you think these are ethical?
You know, I'll be honest, I think so, because You have to keep in mind, everybody who is incarcerated is not a serial killer, right? A lot of these people made a mistake, bad decision, and they're paying the price. And they're yearning for very real connections. And as experts note, these connections help reduce the rates of reoffense. But women need to proceed with caution.
All right, I want you to meet someone. Samantha is joining us via Skype. She has met prisoners online using the writeaprisoner.com and has even communicated with infamous serial killers like Charles Manson. So thank you for being with us, Samantha. And I appreciate you being honest about what attracts you to these men.
Hi. Nice to meet you, Dr. Oz. And I love what you had to say. Very good points. So thank you for having me on here.
So let me start with that first question of what attracts you to these men?
It has to do with low self-esteem and low self-image. No woman in her right mind who can have the choice of very fine men or women, whatever you're into, is ever going to go to a serial killer. And you can also control the relationships. You get to decide if you want to put money in their commissary account. You get to decide when you want to visit them on death row. You get to decide if you even want to talk to them at all. It's all on your terms because you're in a position where you feel like your life is so out of control that this is the only control you can get.
So
I don't know.
That's helpful. And I do think control seems to play a role in it. We're going to meet other women on this show as well. But let me point to one relationship you had in particular. You were seriously involved with Richard Allen Davis, the man on death row for the murder of 12-year-old Polly Klaas. You used to visit him often. What was it like being romantically involved with someone like that?
Well, I can just give you an example of one time several years ago, and mind you, I haven't written to these or visited these people in years since my last long-term relationship with an unincarcerated man. But I think it was 2013, and Rick Davis wanting to do something special for my birthday, and that manifested itself in these very bizarre voice messages. He described raping me for my birthday, and it made me freak out. I stepped back for a moment. I kept talking to them because still I was in that mentality. I just felt so badly about myself that this is what I thought I deserved. And even to have a man tell you that he's going to lurk outside your condo and break in your window and then rape you. I mean, I wasn't okay with that, but he was all I had at the time, like those people. So
do you think, just hearing that story, do you think that killers are capable of having a loving relationship, the kind that you would want?
I would say no, because I think the statistics on the recovery or just rehabilitation of psychopaths and sociopaths. But I think if you're not talking about death row inmates and you're talking about someone like the cute with jail bay or whatever, then I think they could, but not with the people I was involved with.
Samantha, thank you very much for being with us. I understand how complicated an issue it is, even as you deal with it now. Up next, we're going to meet a real-life prison wife and hear how she fell in love with that killer behind bars. Stay with us.
My name is Tammy. I am a prison wife. My husband, Kevin, has been incarcerated for over 15 years, and he has a 28-year sentence. I started this channel a couple of years ago to reach out to other women that related to me on one level or another, whether they're prison wife, prison girlfriend, prison fiance.
We're back exploring the phenomenon behind women who love, marry, and give up everything for men convicted of violent crimes. Join me now is Tammy. She is the devoted wife of a man serving a 28-year sentence for murder. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Before you met Kevin in prison, he's in prison, what kind of men were you attracted to?
So I was always attracted to men that were my age, a little bit younger, people that had big personalities, humorous, life of the party type of guys.
Your husband, Kevin, I understand, is convicted of second-degree murder.
He is.
What did he do?
He was 19 years old at the time, using drugs, alcohol, very impulsive. He was with a group of guys that knew somebody that was sexually exploiting a young girl, and he the guy had come over to the house. He grabbed the gun and just shot the guy that showed up there. The guy ended up dying, and he was offered a plea actually of manslaughter, took it to trial, and then he got 28 years and second-degree murder once he took it to trial.
So how did you meet him? What even give you the thought of reaching out to him?
Yep, absolutely. I was living in Tennessee at the time. I'm originally from California. I was kind of homesick, and so I decided to go on this website. It was called writeaprisoner.com.
Right.
And I was looking at various profiles on there, and I came across my husband's. He's very funny, and he was cute. I thought he was cute. So I was like, oh, I'll write this guy. So I wrote him, and a couple days later he responded, and we just hit it off. We had a lot of things in common, and just went from there.
How long did you date before you got married?
6 months. It was almost exactly 6 months.
Is it okay if I push you about the wedding a little bit? My producer said that you struggled a little bit telling people that you're getting married to someone who was in prison.
I did at first. I didn't tell my dad actually until after I got married. And that was the hardest thing for me. He didn't take it well. It took him about 2 years to come to grips with it. I remember when I told him, he just said, I never expected that my daughter would ever marry somebody incarcerated, let alone somebody that was, had committed a second-degree murder. So it took him a while. My mom, on the other hand, she handled it amazing. She went to meet him. She was there when we got married. So
how does the whole kids thing work? Right? It's not, I mean, how do you spend time with a prisoner like that?
So I don't have kids, but we've talked about it quite frequently. He tells me that he feels guilty that he's not able to give that to me right now, and he knows that I really want to have children. But in Washington State, we have what's called extended family visits. Most people know them as conjugal visits. So they give you 2 days, and it's like a duplex on the facility. And so there's that chance that you can get pregnant and have kids. But Washington does make you wait 3 years if you met while incarcerated to actually get those visits. So we're still in the process of waiting to get approved for those.
So you haven't consummated the marriage yet?
No.
How does it actually work with him behind bars? How do you schedule stuff? How do you figure out times?
Yep, so he calls me twice a day. He calls me in the morning before I go to work, and he calls me at night before he has to go to his cell. In the evening, we talk for their 20-minute phone calls. We do what's called video visits, which is similar to Skyping or FaceTime. And then I visit him every week. Our visits are pretty lengthy. They're about 9 hours, 8 to 9 hours.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so they're pretty long. And you can visit Fridays, Monday, up to 3 days a week you can actually visit.
What do you want people to understand about being a prison wife, about falling in love with a man behind bars?
I'd like people to understand that there's a negative stigma against prison wives, that maybe they're desperate or they have low self-esteem. They are into the bad boys, they're looking for that sort of thing. And that's not necessarily true. Like, love is love, I believe. And, you don't know someone until you really get to know them, so.
We just had a woman earlier comment on self-esteem issues. I didn't even bring it up. I'm sure that must be asked of you frequently. Is that a part of what's going on in some cases?
I don't think so. I know I have pretty high self-esteem. In the past, it was something that I struggled with, but through years, of bettering myself and self-care and all of that, I've learned, to love myself. We truly are in love, and he's a good we're good for each other. Like,
good
he's
for
my
you.
perfect match.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be right back. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.